Hey everybody, we are here with a creator spotlight for Movie Mainline with Andrew Martin from Andrew Watches Movies. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
So a lot of
It's
you probably
my
know
name
him.
comes up in the corner there. Huh?
A lot of you probably know who he is, but if you don't, you're going to find out. So Andrew, first of all, tell us about Andrew Watches Movies. What is your concept? How are you doing in Andrew Watches Movies? What are your goals for the future?
Well, Andrew Watches Movies is a podcast that I've been doing for a couple years. The last year, I had trouble doing it every week, which that's over. I'm going to be having my weekly podcast back, which a lot of the episodes I like to focus on people finding entertainment they can watch at their fingertips. Things that are streaming that are interesting or new releases. I used to like to see everything in the theater and kind of point people towards that. But since that isn't happening anymore, I kind of had to point people towards things that are streaming at home. And I like to focus on things that evoke a more emotional response from the viewer, so I can talk about how the movie struck me personally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to incorporate this one segment as well, and about creaky doors. Not really, but I'm kind of got this theory that we were more inspired in our lives when we watched movies that affected us in a certain way. And a lot of people don't go back and rewatch movies ever. So I'm wondering, what kind of inspiration can be gained from something, say, Pulp Fiction, that somebody hasn't seen in a while, or Shawshank Redemption, or even Goonies, or Never-Ending Story, which I covered a few weeks ago on my podcast. Things that we watched a lot when we were at an age where we were more of a sponge, more and allowed things to be more impactful to us.
Right.
So kind of curious on that. That's what I've been doing now. And one of my goals that I'm going to be doing in the future, incorporated into this, is deep dives into some directors. And I didn't mention this on there. I was kind of trying to figure it out, and I was taking a walk in the woods, and I was thinking about things I want to do in film school. And I really liked the classes that we took on directors, where it went deep into them, and it went through all their films. So I'm about to start with John Carpenter on my podcast.
Cool. That is
go
cool.
Through everything.
We're going to do something kind of similar. We're going to do an offshoot, a deep dive offshoot. We talked about it in a little more detail, but I'm not going to quite reveal how we're going to do it, but we are going to do something very similar. And I love that kind of stuff because it kind of invites me to go back and rediscover, maybe I forgot about, oh yeah, Carpenter did Assault on Precinct 13. I haven't seen that forever. Let's go back and check that one out, or whatever,
Just watch the commentary today. The commentary on those the Shout Factory things that they put out, they're incredible, and he's really entertaining on them too. I really enjoyed the commentary, or the Carpenter commentary.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to all the others.
So from an audience member of Andrew Watches Movies, I will kind of add a couple, my 2 cents too, is that first of all, you're audio only, which awesome. I mean, we do video on ours, but honestly, if I go listen,
change.
What is that? It might change. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, whatever you want to offer to people, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think audio is perfectly great. I love listening to your podcast. And one of the things that I really like about yours is that you sometimes you just do a regular review, and sometimes you'll let it just go into some memory or emotional thing happening in your life. You're very confessional, I would say, or you're very open book. You're an open book. You don't censor yourself. And I think people will really appreciate that when they come in, that, one day I'll be talking about whatever you're feeling, and you might be down, and you might be walking out in the hills around LA one day, or you might be doing whatever you're doing. And I think that personal connection will really draw people in, along with the movies, because you've seen just about freaking everything. I mean, you and I have had some conversations, and I'll be like, "You see this? Oh yeah, I saw that. Have you seen this?" Oh, what? I haven't seen that one. So it's really hard sometimes to find something that the other person hasn't seen.
I hear that from people sometimes. I'll be just chatting about way too many movies at the same time, and they'll be like, you really have seen everything, haven't you? And I'm like, yeah, it's actually because I had an illness in my 20s that they were trying to figure out for a long time. They thought I had Crohn's disease for a moment. Then they're like, just some sort of IBS, ulcerative colitis. I went through a lot of tests and didn't get out very much. So I ended up watching a ton of movies, and I also went to film school back then as well, and that's when I got sick. So I was just watching, like, Netflix was out, so I was just watching everything. Like, that's when you can get like 6 movies, 8 movies at a time.
Yep.
And they had everything in their collection, so I took full advantage of it. It really helped me through my illness.
I totally understand. I think that most people who are hardcore movie fans have some version of that. Either they're just emotionally unable to like get out into the scary real world, and these movie worlds allow them a way to kind of time travel or place travel, or maybe you're just kind of a super nerdy person and movies are your friends, or you're stuck because of health reasons. So I think there's always people that are hardcore movie fans. Movies are friends. They're like an emotional connection on top of the real world. So I see that as a very common thread from a lot of people. So that being said, it's hard to pick one, so you can take a couple if you want. But what is a movie or two that has had an extreme impact on you? This is the movies that have a movie that's just, you can always go back to it. It's changed you, but it never stops being something you want to return to.
Well, one of them that I watched in kind of a different way recently, maybe kind of like, I don't know, in a COVID haze in a little bit even, was looking at the movie Donnie Darko again.
We did too.
Yeah. Like that is a movie that I can rewatch and watch in different ways. And like, I don't know. I was actually looking at it this way recently. The Donnie Darko is the 3rd book of the Bible. Like, we've got the New Testament, the Old Testament, and the New Testament. And kind of like the Old Testament is the way that what's the name of the old lady that everybody's afraid of? You know the character.
Oh, they call her like Mrs. Death or something. But Sparrow. That's right. Her name is Sparrow, but I think they always call her like Lady Death or something, like all the kids do.
Well, she tells Donnie when she whispers in his ear that every animal on this earth dies alone.
Yeah.
And the Asian girl that stands out that doesn't fit in later on, when Donnie's about to make his sacrifice and he's come to peace with everything, he tells her that someday, I promise you, everything will be different and everything will be okay. So it's almost like the New Testament of Donnie, where he has to go and make a sacrifice of himself, like for the greater good and to protect all the people around. And I love that too. And I love the fact that in that as well, when Donnie dies, and sorry if has everybody seen Donnie Darko?
Well, I mean, we don't really worry about spoilers in this conversation.
Okay.
This is just a freewheeling movie conversation, so it is what it is.
Recently, that movie was like, it was very comforting in the way that when Donnie dies, like, there's this weird feeling that passes over everybody, and it's captured in the song montage, like where everyone just they have this moment and this feeling like, what's going on here? But it's really like feeling like that presence that would have touched them, like this feeling, like this deja vu kind of thing. Yeah. And I just really liked it that it came to pass what Donnie said too. He didn't die alone. Everything was going to be okay. And the other line that I really liked from it too is that he was at the end, and all that he could think about is how much he had to look forward to. Mm-hmm. Like, I've always thought that was kind of a spiritual movie because it had the theater marquee that had the Last Temptation of Christ on it. Yes. And Donnie's kind of like shown his path that he could have had, but it's also got the Evil Dead under it because it's got like a fucking rabbit too, and Frank that's like showing him the entire thing. Yep. So I mean, that I would say is a movie that I can always come back to and enjoy. And I guess I'll pick a second one because I don't think Donnie is streaming anywhere.
Zodiac, I don't think it is. Zodiac, you said?
Zodiac is one that I can watch like almost on repeat. and it's got Gyllenhaal in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it that Jake is another character who is almost like sacrificing his life in order to figure out who the Zodiac is. And he kind of becomes enveloped in it. And that's a really good film about obsession. Like with
about
him
obsession and not giving you like resolution really either.
Yes, which I love about that movie.
Unresolved obsession. See, I'm. It's kind of funny. So I'll kind of, you can go back on Zodiac in a minute here, but I have been slowly showing, just watching movies with my kids, some with my littlest son, but my oldest son is 15, and we've just been watching like more grown-up movies like together. And I let him pick some, and sometimes we just watch Crawl, like we all watch Crawl together. Like that's the whole thing.
That movie's so much fun.
Yeah,
I love Crawl.
But I had him watch Donnie Darko with me. He watched Amelie with me. He watched, we're just picking things. I just got Pan's Labyrinth. We're going to watch Pan's Labyrinth.
That movie.
Yeah. So I feel you on Donnie Darko for sure. And then the other side is, for me, the Fincher movie, I can watch Seven anytime it's on. Anytime Seven's on, I can watch it from where I drop in, and I can watch it the rest of the way through. And even though those are two different movies, there's a level of obsession, and there's a level of kind of I think Seven's more apocalyptic. It's more cynical, but I can see there's a similar kind of weird unresolved nature to both of them. Like the good guys don't get the bad guys, and in fact the good guys and bad guys aren't super clear in those movies,
Yeah, I think that's consistent through Fincher's work even.
True.
Because I mean, you can even look at The Social Network and is Mark really a good guy or is he a bad guy? I mean, with everything that he's given to the world and everything he's taken. Like he loves those kinds of characters. He likes it when it's a little bit messy.
But Zodiac, what's really interesting about Zodiac too, and I don't know if you feel this way, is because it's a real life story and it's an unsolved, very I guess I would say like it really attracts people to the mystery because it has so many weird true life elements, with the puzzles and the encrypted codes and all this stuff. And the fact in that movie, he just like so meticulously recreates the actual crime scenes that the movie itself is, if not as obsessive, maybe more obsessive than the character in the movie. So it's, you know what I'm saying? Like the movie actually portrays what's in the movie in its actual self.
Yeah, well, actually, maybe it's Fincher, like playing himself through the movie, because I mean, if you can see like a thread through Fincher's films like the old auteurs, with the obsession from Seven to Zodiac and through Social Network, The Game, like it's in there. Moneyball, like it's all his movies are focused on it, even when he's not doing a thriller. So I would say that it's the movie that's the obsessive thing because the filmmaker's obsessive.
Right. And it just invites the viewer to like become part of that, and by not giving you that resolution, like really not giving you an answer, because it's not an answer. It doesn't try to give you a true answer, that it just makes you want to like solve it. You want to solve it. It's just so good.
And right now I want to watch Zodiac again so I can find the clues.
Yeah. Hang on. I think I hear somebody knocking at the door. Hang on. Something's going on here.
What is going on?
Wait. Oh, hello. Who? I thought I heard somebody.
Gremlin's taking over.
I thought I heard somebody knocking. Oh yeah, it's like Mr. McFeely showed up in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Hello.
Hello, Mr. McFeely.
How's it going? Did I interrupt something? What's going on?
We're just talking Zodiac.
Well, for everybody who doesn't know.
The Killer or the David Fincher movie?
Oh, kind of both.
Movie.
That's a good one. That's really good.
So we were talking about how the movie is almost as obsessive or more obsessive in its actual making of the scenes and recreating the actual events as the character in the movie. So it's just like a really super obsessive movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point of the movie, and I never really thought of it that way, but in that respect, yeah, David Fincher was the perfect person to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about the auteur theory because the obsession comes through in all of his movies, even the ones that aren't thrillers, because Moneyball is even a movie about obsession and being meticulous. Like, it's not a serial killer in that one, but it's trying to find the lowest value on a player and kind of like putting people's worth into numbers instead of any kind of emotive sort of thing.
Well, I like in Seven, all those little the little journals of John Doe and how they had to have somebody make all those little journals and how fucking weird those are too. You know, if you've ever seen
Oh, I've seen it, and that had to be one kind of fun job, but it could almost make you feel like the Joker at the same time, and take you to dark places in your mind. Like I don't know, the therapy bills for the person that had to write the John Doe notebooks, I don't want to have to be responsible for.
No doubt. So yeah, we were talking about. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say with the Seven, the journals in Seven, that would be really cool to a really cool like a box set or whatever. So you got like Seven on 4K or whatever the thing is, and then like reprint like all of them that they made. I don't know how many they made. I know they did a bunch of them, but that would be a hell of a box set, I think.
Yeah,
they have them.
Oh,
why not? Why not reprint them and
that would be something.
Get on that Criterion.
Like
or Shout Factory.
Instant bookshelf. You'd be instant bookshelf, and you'd have like in the middle would be the DVD, and then it'd be all of the journals that you'd have. That'd be awesome. And you'd freak people out when they came over to visit and saw all the journals.
I used to buy those journals, and I think because of the movie, like the ones that looked exactly like John Doe's. I have a bunch of them. Like I could spread them out and put them on a bookshelf and freak people out, but you know, I don't really want to do that. I've got the wrong tattoos, like to be doing that in my apartment.
They used to be like standard at college. You know, you go to the college bookstore and they just have stacks of those things. So everyone would grab those things to write their notes in. You know, so, oh my God, he's turning into something. What's happening here?
I have a cat back. Hello. She wants to join in.
So that would be weird if you got like all those Seven journals and you put them up on your bookshelf, and you know, people come over and don't notice because you already have a bookshelf full of journals. It's like
it's just normal.
Notice anything different? No, not at all. It looks the same as it does every other time we come over. You're not going to kill me today, are you? No, cool. Have a beer.
We can pass. We can assimilate in normal society. They don't know. It's like the Stepford Wives. So Andrew, tell me about and Eric's done this. I've done this. Like, what is a really super memorable, weird, unique movie-going experience that you've had, or two?
Well, I went to the New Beverly Cinema in Los Angeles, California, which is owned by Quentin Tarantino, and I watched The Curse of Frankenstein sitting next to Quentin Tarantino. So that was a pretty interesting experience. It was during their Halloween movies they had, and it's not Blood for Dracula. It's not Curse. They had a vampire movie, one of the Christopher Lee ones, like playing with the double feature as well.
One of the Hammer ones. So
yeah, it was a Hammer double feature.
Dracula has risen from the grave, or Scars of Dracula. One. I think Scars of Dracula is one of them.
Wasn't that one? But anyway, Quentin was there for both of the movies with whatever girl he was dating at the time, and I decided that I was just going to kind of sit there. I did get a photo, kind of like over the shoulder a little bit, but I'm like, I'm not going to bother him. And I watched him get annoyed at like each person that would come up and kind of try to talk to him, because he's just there trying to watch a movie at his place. But that was a really good experience going to the movies, and kind of a nice Hollywood experience. And I've had a lot of those, but I don't know. I guess another one that's a non-Hollywood experience that I had, the most memorable experience probably ever was at the drive-in. And drive-ins are something that we could have again, and people could have fun at the drive-in theaters. What you have to do is you have to have a really good double bill like we had, which was Con Air and Face Off. And it was the summer that they came out. And I was completely underage, so the beer that we had with us at the drive-in was so much tastier because of that, because of the illegality. So like that's what people should do during this COVID crisis. Like go to the drive-in, enjoy it when it comes back, and be thankful for what you have. And Face Off and Con Air at the drive-in when I think I would have been 17 or 18 years old. We went to Pennsylvania to go watch it. Had beers with like my high school friends. It was probably one of the best movie-going experiences I've had in my life. And it was kind of like a nice transition period thing too, because that was like the end of high school, everybody going away, going off to do different things too. So nice little celebration around movies.
We have a drive-in in my town that is a working drive-in, believe it or not.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm jealous a little bit.
It's very small, but we have a working one. But I'm waiting for the perfect movie to go with my kids to it. You know, something that's just totally the right thing, but not right now. It's basically like everything else. It's not hardly even working. So we're kind of waiting for the perfect time. So
where I live right now in Bellingham, that area, it would not work with a drive-in right now because the sun is up until like 10 o'clock at night every day. Yep. Which I kind of like, but it's kind of weird too, because it's like, did this day end? Am I on a new day?
I have seen actually, because I used to live in Bellingham, so this is a weird mix. I'm in Alabama now. I went to school in Bellingham. I did see one drive-in Bellingham, one drive-in movie, and I think it was what was the name of that stupid movie where would you
Snowman?
Well, nope. I know you said that's the worst movie ever, and I haven't seen it.
It's so bad. Demi Moore, and she's gonna like sleep with Robert Redford for $1 million or whatever.
Indecent Proposal.
Yeah. So I saw that at the drive-in, but in the other drive-in, because you could see the other drive-in, they weren't like masked very well, so it's a double drive-in, so you could see the other drive-in playing, was Super Mario Brothers. And it was just like, what's happening? And we were drinking too. And it was like, no, I'm not enjoying any of this. This is not right. It's just a weird like mix. But I think I mentioned this to you, Eric, too. When I got my driver's license, I went to two places. I went to, because I'm a fucking weirdo, I went to this really cool mausoleum and cemetery that I wanted to go to because I was into horror movies. And then I went and saw drive-in Gates of Hell, Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell. And that was the first destination. I had to see a horror movie in the drive-in. It was awesome. And did you guys ever go to a drive-in, like old school drive-ins where they had the playground in the front?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ours didn't have that. We did have a real drive-in, like where I grew up, like that was functional with new movies all the time, and I think that it's going again right now too. But we didn't have a playground in front of it. We did have the bad hot dog stand though.
Oh yeah, Eric, you said they did have one like that in yours?
Yeah, I grew up in Bellevue, Nebraska, and you cross the river to Iowa, and there was a drive-in there, and yeah, they had the playground up front. I remember. It was either Smoking the Bandit or Cannonball Run. It was
nice.
Those two movies they're essentially the same movie. I mean, let's be honest. But it was one of those two movies, and I remember there was like some Bugs Bunny cartoon or whatever playing, and me and my brothers were up front playing on the playground until the movie started. And we went back to the car, but yeah, that was fun.
Do you know what I think is underrated Burt Reynolds movie from that era? Hooper.
That's a good movie.
Have you seen Hooper?
I have seen Hooper.
God, I fucking love Hooper. Have you seen that, Eric?
Yeah, I saw it. I got let's see, there was that Sharky's Machine.
Yes.
And Gator and White Lightning. Like I got all Gator. 4 of those. I got all 4 of those in the same week, and just
Gator is good too. White Lightning and Gator are good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Burt Reynolds might be an underrated actor.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
He gets made fun of for the look a little bit iconic with that, but he was a good actor.
Yeah,
like Smokey and the Bandit, that was good.
Yeah, it was this great entertainment in the era. I mean, obviously, he kind of cartooned out that image as he went along and became, like you said, with Cannonball Run and all that stuff, and it became jokier and jokier. But he was like the dude back in '70s, man. He was mustached, hair-chested, like Hollywood actor guy.
He was the Tom Selleck of his times.
For sure.
I can't remember the first Burt Reynolds movie I saw him. It was an early one without his mustache. It had to have been Deliverance.
Probably, yeah.
But when I first saw Deliverance, I didn't really know who Burt Reynolds was. But then, like later on, like you know who Burt Reynolds is. I think it might have been which one was first, White Lightning or Gator? Because one of those, it's been a while since I seen him. One of those he has a mustache, and the other one he doesn't. The earlier one he doesn't, I think.
I always mix those two up at about the same time period too. I can't remember which is which as far as.
But either way, I remember watching Burt Reynolds without a mustache. I'm like, what the hell? Yeah.
And I forget the story. Those two, him and like Eastwood, like were coming up at like the same time. I forget how it happened exactly. Like I think there was some story about them going to like the same audition or something, and one of them saying like, "Oh, you're never going to make it because you're blank," you know. And of course, they both ended up being like the biggest, probably the two biggest male action stars of the '70s. I can't think of anyone bigger than Eastwood and Reynolds back then. I mean, Eastwood had the whole line of Dirty Harry movies he was doing at the same time, and just kicking ass with those in those days. So,
speaking of Burt Reynolds without a mustache, I remember coming up watching Any Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can. And then I can't remember which movie it was, but I would see a Clint Eastwood movie, and I'm like, "Where's the monkey? This is the guy that this is the guy that does the movie with the monkey. Where's the monkey? This is bullshit. I hate this movie."
Make my day. Give me a monkey and I will.
Dirty Harry. How dirty can you be? You don't even have a monkey with you. Fuck off.
You know, that would really change those movies if you just threw a monkey in with him the whole time as his sidekick. That would be something. And the Enforcer.
Could be made better with a monkey.
The Enforcer and Clyde.
Bringing up Dirty Harry and going back to kind of brings us full circle, at least since I got here with the Zodiac.
Yep. Scorpion.
Yep.
Scorpio.
Yeah, Scorpio.
Well, what movie were they was Mark Ruffalo watching? Because the Dirty Harry movies were based on him or his character.
They were going to see Dirty Harry, I believe, in the theater in Zodiac, which was based on the Zodiac killer. Yeah.
All right.
But they didn't want to use the actual name Zodiac. And am I wrong remembering this? Because I haven't seen the movie Zodiac for a while. But didn't the Zodiac killer see that movie? I think so. I think he wrote one of the letters, because he always writing letters to the press and stuff. I think in one of them he said something about how they got it wrong or did something weird. Like he actually saw the movie that portrayed a version of him, and he was.
I was going to say maybe you should ask him.
Hey, I've got him hanging in the closet over here. You know, so
got George over here, better known as the Zodiac Killer. Come on in, George.
Zed is dead. Yes.
Nice.
So, what's another any other weird movie going experiences you had, Mr. Andrew Martin?
I mean, I've had like weird how. I mean, I bummed a cigarette once from Liev Schreiber and didn't know it until like he gave it to me. I lived in Hollywood for a bit. Weird movie going experiences were a norm. One time I went to Hollywood and Highland to see a movie. I saw Jason Lee on an escalator. I wish I had the foresight to have said that guy is back on the escalator again, but I didn't get a chance. I will say I really, really, really miss the theaters. Like going to the movies, that experience, being there with an audience, like having no distraction in the movies. I miss it. Like I hope that we get to go and do that again someday and take advantage of things like Movie Pass and make them go bankrupt again.
Yes.
Like I really would like to go to see like something in the theater, especially since it seems like they're holding back on like what they're releasing to us, and this is like the year that almost never happened.
Yes.
Right now. I mean
there's definitely some weird gems out there, but you got to dig for them pretty hard. So.
Yeah, but I will say that movie-going experiences. Like one thing that I can confuse people with all the time is that I went to see Pulp Fiction opening day in the theater. And that was an experience to me. It's been my favorite movie since I saw it. Like, and I remember I thought that it was hilarious in the preview that somebody was shooting at them and the bullets went past. They looked angrily at each other and then just shot at the screen. I'm like, I need to see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 14 at the time. But yeah, it's the way that I date myself, and people can tell my age usually when that movie comes up, and I'm like, I saw that in the theater. But that one, and that was a good summer too. Actually, that summer, they didn't question me going to see Pulp Fiction. They didn't question me going to see Natural Born Killers at the theater that I was going to. But I had to go get a guardian to get permission to go to see Speed. Like, and I'm still kind of confused about that. Like, Natural Born Killers was
Natural Born Killers is so fucked up.
I know, and I'm sitting there opening day watching that. I'm 14 with my popcorn, like, all right, Mickey and Mallory Knox, here we go. But Speed, they had a problem. And Blair Witch Project was the other weird one that they made me go home and get my ID. I'm like, really? Like, I've seen so many movies here, and you're gonna like have a fit about Blair Witch Project?
See, I'm from that weird era. Go ahead.
I wonder if the Speed ones, like you going to see Pulp Fiction, it's like, it's a good movie, go on in. Natural Born Killers, pretty time, go on in. Speed, I'm like, you were too young to know this, but that movie sucks, and you will not.
Speed does not suck. Speed is still a good movie.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the time it came out, you got the
art
film,
house one.
Yeah, the art house elitists or whatever. It's like, you will not watch the stupid Hollywood movies. You will watch the good indie movies. If you want to come in and watch a good indie R-rated movie, I would let you in. But if you want to watch a blockbuster movie like Speed with Keanu Reeves, you will not. You know, they're probably just flexing their muscles.
I remember, Sonny, because you talk about Pulp Fiction. I went and saw it, and I remember specifically why. When I went and saw that one, it was weird. I had messed up on my schedule at work, and I thought I had 5 hours before I had to go to work. And I remember going and seeing Pulp Fiction, which is what, 2 hours and
2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40
like that. Yeah, and I remember seeing the whole movie and I'm getting out of there, and I'm all pumped, and the bright light of day and all that kind of stuff. And I got out there and I looked at that was before cell phones. So I didn't look at my cell phone. There was no cell phone to look at. I got out of there and I went home, and then on my answering machine was like all these messages. That's when you had answering machines. You see a little light blinking. And I remember hitting it. Where are you at? You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be at work. Where are you at? And it was like 3 hours late to work because of Pulp Fiction. I was like, oh, fuck. Running off to work. But it was worth it. I think it was worth it.
Transcendental experience.
That's right. But I mean,
I went to see that 4 times when it was in theaters originally too, because I remember Pulp Fiction was in theaters and that's when they let a movie go out for at least 6 months and like sit in theaters, where now it's 6 weeks. You're lucky if you get.
Well, that was it. That was such a buzz movie too, because I at that point I was already on board. I mean, you were young. You probably hadn't even heard. You didn't know what Tarantino was for anything.
No, I was really, really into movies at that age. I was going to see it on purpose. I knew what Reservoir Dogs was before Pulp Fiction had come out.
Okay, cool.
When Clerks came out, I needed to see Clerks right away.
Right.
I'm like, there's a movie that's rated NC-17 for language. I need to see this right now.
Yeah, that was such a buzzy movie. Everyone was waiting for Pulp Fiction, and everyone had, bid for it and all that stuff. So yeah, it was a thing for sure.
Yeah, my parents were pretty good. We had Rolling Stone magazine, and I used to read that. So I knew what Pulp Fiction was because that magazine was writing about it for a while beforehand. When I went to see Natural Born Killers, I was really amped for that as well. And that was playing at our mall theater, by the way. In a town of 16,000 people. 2-screen mall theater. We did have Natural Born Killers back in 1994.
Yeah, it got a wide release. I remember that. It did. Well, because I mean, at that time they were releasing stuff like that pretty widely, whereas now it's almost harder to get a wide release for a movie like that. I
know. I could see Natural Born Killers, if that were released now, I could see that movie actually being picketed. People really, really being upset about that movie being released. It's because it exists now that people are okay with it. Mm-hmm. But that movie, I think, would just disturb people down to their core. I would love for something to come out like that, Wide Way. But The House That Jack Built, they didn't allow that to the public. They would protect the public from Natural Born Killers.
Yes. That kind of reminds me that's another thing that's, I think, other than the unique, weird, settings or people you're around in the movie going experience. Another thing that I really have always loved is when you go to a movie theater and see a really fucked up weird movie, and just being in an audience where there's a certain percentage of the audience doesn't know what they're getting into, and just experiencing that.
Oh, I did with The House That Jack Built.
I bet you
I
did.
saw that. It was like a special kind of event kind of thing for the director's cut. It was on the roof of the Fonda Theater in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Like this like it's a really nice setting. They had it and a nice projected thing. But there were some people that were very upset at that movie when it was going on, and it was raining at the time too. So we were watching the house that Jack built on a cold November night in like light rain. It wasn't heavy rain. But I'd say like a third of the audience was very offended by that movie. And that's why I think that Natural Born Killers wouldn't fly anymore.
Yeah, and both those movies actively go out to like offend and to like, they do. They want to, but they also both have a really, for a lot of people, a really off-putting comedic edge to them, which really fucks with people's audience. Because if you're going to have something that's really fucked up and really, pushing the boundaries, most audiences want it to be like, okay, but this is serious, this is bad, we're going to see bad stuff happening. But if you add a weird comedic tone to it, they're like, what, am I supposed to laugh at this? Like that, like the whole sitcom scene in Natural Born Killers is fucking,
that's the part that I think they would have to cut. And the scene where they have the girl kidnapped and Mallory's like, just fuck her, and he's like, maybe I will. And that part where he's just looking at him like, yeah, I don't think that audiences could take that, like, if that were new to them right now.
Yeah, and
like
Rodney Dangerfield.
But the comedy is,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That whole sequence is just wrong.
Why don't you go upstairs? I'll come up there and see how clean you are. I was like, ugh.
That gives me chills the way that you're saying that right now. Like that scene. And the little kid saying, Mallory's my mom.
And then they have the whole laugh track and they do the whole thing like as a sitcom. That is one of those movies that, and it was, but I mean, even if you didn't know it was, it's just such a drug fueled, like manic, it alters you just the way it's filmed. Your brain is altered by the way it's cut and like all the colors and the sounds. And it's just like, it fucks you up. It's a drug, like that movie alone, just on its own.
When people talk about remakes, I would like to see Quentin Tarantino direct Natural Born Killers. Like I would like to see, maybe go back in time and see what his version of that looked like. Because I like Natural Born Killers a lot, but Quentin Tarantino definitely has a different aesthetic, and of course, he probably would have cast different people in it, but it would be really cool to see what his version of that would look like.
I don't know. It'd be pretty cool with him working with Woody Harrelson. Like if that ever would happen, I'd like to see what they could do together. Like Quentin hasn't worked with him before either.
That is kind of weird. You'd think like they would have worked together by now.
I don't think he likes him.
No, I think that there was like Quentin got in fights with people with like that were involved with Natural Born Killers because they changed things so much from his original screenplay, which the original screenplay they kind of had to change because I did read that, and a lot of it like it plays a bit like True Romance does. Like they're a little too similar, I think, and they came out at the same time. Like he was really influenced by Badlands, like way too much with both of those movies. That I think that Oliver had to change it a little bit, like having read it. So I'm actually wondering what it would be like to see him remake True Romance or Natural Born Killers and see like what you get out of it.
Or both.
You can't do both.
He does his 10th movie and he's done. But you're making your own movie, two different movies.
I want this Friday the 13th movie too. Like I really want to see what he would do with the Friday the 13th franchise. Like he talked to them, he took meetings. Like forget the Star Trek that he's talking about.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Star Trek. Interesting. Friday the 13th. I'm totally in. I want to see like From Dusk Till Dawn tells me he wants to do a horror movie at some point, and Death Proof as well. Like he really, really wants one.
Yeah, and that's what we miss. I miss how the era when you'd have your Kubricks or your really giant directors, and they would say, I'm going to make a horror movie. It's like, cool, do it, man. I mean, we have really awesome directors doing horror movies, but we don't have ones that have just been doing other stuff and then hopping in and doing a horror movie, like a straight up horror movie. I agree with you. I'd love to see that.
Hey, Andrew, have you watched the, there's a lot of Friday the 13th fan films. You can find them on YouTube. Have you seen any of those?
Not really, no.
You should check those out. There's a bunch of really good ones. If you're into Friday the 13th and Jason, I was on a podcast CF3 with my friend, and they had me. Oh, there you go. They had me watch one called Never Hike Alone, and I guess there's this whole.
Is that one good? Like, give me a recommendation of one to check out.
Never Hike Alone's a really good one. That was the first one I saw, and so far that's the best one. But there's a bunch of good ones. Kind of like how they have you go on YouTube and you see a bunch of fan films for like Star Wars fan films.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently they got a butt ton of Friday the 13th ones too, and
wow,
a lot of them are really good. Probably because Friday the 13th simple. You got a guy with a mask going around killing people in the woods, so.
Yeah, you just have to give them scenes that you got to give them characters that you kind of want to die, like you won't mind dying, especially what's his name, Rick in Part 3, like whatever that boyfriend is who drives the bug, like I want him to die through that entire movie. Like
I love Part 3. Everyone hates Part 3, but I love Part 3.
They're completely wrong. Hating that movie is wrong. That movie, the motorcycle gang,
I love that part.
It's fantastic.
And I always like the look of 3D films when they have to convert them to 2D, because I feel like the look. I know it's weird. I know to say that, right? But the look of the depth of the film, I love it. And actually, a lot of those Friday the 13th movies, the cinematography is fucking pretty good.
Nightmare on Elm Street ones have good cinematography as well.
Yeah.
Like horror movies, I think, are underrated for the cinematography that they have, because like Hereditary, like the modern ones, they're beautiful as well. Like all through, like horror, you kind of have to like work with the camera. Sam Raimi with The Evil Dead, he made a lot of like great leaps and bounds, even like with technology that we have through working with those and experimenting. So
it's weird because like Citizen Kane's it's really lauded because of all the techniques it invented. And Sam Raimi definitely did a lot of that just because he had no budget to do otherwise. Mm-hmm. But and granted, people like Evil Dead and people talk about Evil Dead, but I don't think Evil Dead gets enough credit for furthering the technique of filmmaking the way that it did. Not like people give credit to Citizen Kane. Yeah, I think they should.
Well,
Citizen Kane and Evil Dead are kind of one and the same in that aspect, I think.
It's true. It's actually true. And I want to say, I don't know that. I think you're wrong in that he had to do that. He didn't have to do that. That's what makes the movie great. He could have. So he had these ideas, but instead of saying like, well, I don't have the budget to make these ideas happen, he figured out a way to make those ideas happen with the budget he had, which is why
that's what I'm talking about. Like the Vaseline can, for example. Yeah. He had to do that because the technology didn't exist.
Right, but he could have easily just decided, like, I can't do that shot, I'm not going to do it,
Yeah.
But well, and for that movie, too, he had to have a certain disregard for the health of his cast, and he had the perfect actor who had no regard for his health and his well-being whatsoever. Bruce Campbell would do anything that he was asked. Like, Sam was very lucky. He was very, very lucky to have met Bruce Campbell, I think.
Yeah,
and everybody else.
If you pull that today, he'd probably be canceled.
Oh, Sam, but they he put them all in danger. He almost blinded them with contacts that he was using.
You did what, T-Rex?
He had them
out of here.
Let's rape a woman on set, and she was uncomfortable because she has said in some interviews she was a little uncomfortable about that scene, especially with her mom watching it like afterward.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's one of those movies I saw in the theater, and it was a weird experience. Hardly anyone saw it at the theater because it was such a short release, and I remember running to the theater to see that one. But that got to the multiplex too. That's a perfect example. Like, that was at the multiplex. Reanimator was at the multiplex. Like, all those movies.
Oh my!
And I saw them, and they were only out for like a week. But I saw Reanimator at the multiplex. I saw like a lot of those there. The Evil Dead 2 was in the multiplex too, but
see, that one had more of a budget to it though. Yeah. Like the first one, like in the second one, that one has the comedy that makes it so you can go with it, and it's not as horrific. That first one, without the comedy, is just, that movie is horrific. That movie
it really is.
Really, it probably scarred me as a kid. Like, I had a clamshell of it.
Yeah, it's good, and I really am sad because I think the cabin is totally gone now, and it was in
Hmm.
Kentucky, not very far from where I'm at, and that would be a destination. I think all that's there now is maybe like a couple bricks, a couple stone pieces, and you have to know exactly where to go. But it isn't very far from me, and I was like, I would love to have seen that cabin. And it was there for a while, I guess. I guess for at least 15, 20 years, you could go and find the remnants of that cabin, the original one. I was like, oh, that would have been cool. You know.
That would have been a good movie destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric? You have any movie destinations in your area that you've ever been to? Like any?
Actually, there is one, and a certain someone brought me to it.
Oh, like, wait, you mean the Michael Myers house?
Well, yeah, that's the one I was thinking, and then I thought for a second I was like, and I actually went to the one with I guess they shot a bunch of stuff there, but the La La Land one. But yeah, where you that
River?
the Michael Myers house you brought me to was cool. It felt weird being there because I guess someone lives there, and I was like, they don't need some fucking asshole sitting on their porch, but then they had that you going around back and you
No,
brought me to
actually, Michael Myers house. It's really funny. It's got businesses in it now, and I was at a barbecue with somebody who works in the house, and they were looking at my arm because like right there, they were all tripped out because they're like, that's the house that I work in, like right there, like
so
on my arm. Like they were looking at me through the barbecue. They're like, that's the Michael house.
So the place we were, I thought someone lived there. So no one lives there.
They live on one side of it, and they have a museum. But the actual like front-facing part is an insurance company and a couple other places.
All right, thanks for telling me that. I feel like less of an asshole now.
Yeah, no, it's like a Remax basically.
But that museum you took me to, like, was right behind it, or like a house or two down. That place was cool too, where they had like all the pictures and they had the.
Yep.
I have to see if I still have the picture of me and you standing next to that. What's that?
I said because Haddonfield, Illinois is Pasadena, California.
Oh, there you go.
In reality.
So you definitely have to make a trip down to Seattle and go to the Mopop. You've heard of that before? They've got a really good horror exhibit there that you will totally dig. Guarantee it.
I've been to Seattle. Seattle's weird right now.
Yeah.
Seattle's very strange at the moment.
They changed that exhibit a little bit, but they've been keeping a pretty consistent horror exhibit there now. And it's got like, it's got some original Friday the 13th stuff. It's got the full Alien. It's got the flying orb from Phantasm.
Oh, nice.
It's got a bunch of really cool shit there. And then you're not too far away from, I think I told you that there's Laura Palmer's house is down in Everett.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty easy to find. A bunch of stuff from Twin Peaks is in the area. There's even the log.
Yeah, we were going to go on a Twin Peaks venture like in a week or two.
Yeah, there's a bunch of sites for sure. And the Ring remake was shot. You can find a few of those sites too. Monroe, Washington. If you ever, I don't know if you like the Ring remake at all, but
the one with Naomi Watts.
Yeah,
I do like that movie. I like the first one. I do not like the second.
Yeah, exactly. The first one, there's the horse ranch or whatever they go to when there's a horse ranch in there, and that is down in Monroe, Washington. And Deception Pass is in that film too, and you should go check out Deception Pass. It's beautiful. That's down not too far south from you.
So gotta check out those and some of the things from 10 Things I Hate About You I know are around here too.
Yeah, that's right. I was telling him 10 Things I Hate About You, which I'm sure you've seen too, Eric. That big castle-looking school is the high school my brother graduated from down in Tacoma, Washington. It's actually a running high school, believe it or not. And it's this giant, like it was made in like, I don't know, 1910 or something, 1920. Yeah.
I got to as far as like movie locations, I got to watch Strangeland again because I think that was shot here in Colorado Springs. So I'm sure there's probably some stuff there. I know Cop Car was shot here. And I know the area that they shot a lot of that in because I take that road. I took that road to pick my brother and drop him off from work, and so there was a little bit of that. And of course,
that's an underrated movie, Cop Car. People need to see that movie.
I need to see that movie.
You haven't seen Cop Car?
I haven't seen Cop Car. It's one of them that's top of my queue though. Like I've been like out of like things for a while, but I'm back to being able to focus well and everything like that now. So Cop Car is one of them that I put on to start before, and it was too good for the mood that I was in, so I turned it off. You know
Cop
what
Car
I mean?
is
Like,
just
it's like
great, like simple, but it just sucks you right in, you know.
And it's got Kevin Bacon.
Have you guys seen Clown 2? John Watts' other movie?
I have not.
I've seen Clown. Clown's good. Is it still on Netflix?
I don't know. I saw it. I saw that it was because I think he grew up in Fountain, Colorado, which is kind of connected to Colorado Springs. I was like, well, shit, he's from here, so I should watch all his movies. And Clown was like, I kept hearing about it, but it kept not coming out. And then when I finally saw it, I was like, oh, this movie's cool.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
And then he started doing Spider-Man movies. And I'm like, well, I guess he's done making movies now. That's fine.
And let's hope he's not done making movies and he gets back to what he wanted to do after he's done with Marvel.
Yeah, I hope that happens sooner than later.
Are they finally getting done with the superhero movies? Is it finally like fading away?
I don't know. We're going to find out after COVID's done because Black Widow is going to come out pretty much right after, and so is the Wonder Woman movie. So we're going to see what those make because I don't really care about either of them, to be quite honest.
I could see Wonder Woman doing well. I don't know anyone that's excited about Black Widow.
Yeah, I'm not excited. The new Charlize Theron movie was exciting, as exciting to me as any Marvel movie that has come out in a long time. So I'm not looking forward to any of those.
Yeah. I feel like we're maybe 3 or 4 years away from it starting to kind of fade a little bit. I just feel like people are kind of getting to that point.
It might have been hurried up by this whole COVID thing because did we need anything past that Avengers movie? Like for real, is anything necessary after that?
After Infinity War? No. Yeah. Nothing needed to come out after Infinity War.
That would have been awesome. If they just ended after Infinity War, that would have been beautiful.
It's like drop the mic. Fuck you, nerds. We're done.
I would say be nice though. Give them awesome. That because Spider-Man Far From Home was kind of like the coda at the end of everything. Yeah. Because it did have some things that tied it up. Give them that and have them kind of like be able to like cry through that movie and like have their funeral for their comic book things, but then done. Just done after. That would be beautiful.
It sucks. I hate talking shit about comic books because I grew up with. I love comic books, but
I have a whole shelf of comic books right behind me. Yeah, I love comic books.
But I feel like the elitist piece of shit that I was talking shit about earlier. But come on, guys.
We had enough.
Do we need 15 comic book movies a year? Like
that's the thing. And right now, I really feel like we're starting to get some really weird and interesting movies are starting to come out. A lot of them, and I have hope that we're getting kind of a new age of just bizarre horror, bizarre like not really fitting any category kind of stuff. Like you said with Ari Aster, Eggers. I mean, sure, this is all the more arty kind of stuff, but there's other interesting, weird crime stuff coming out. There's some really good like stuff that has like out of South Korea. Jesus Christ, some of the stuff coming out of there is so good. And
I love the Korean film. Parasite just won Best Picture, so South Korean is like right now they're king of the world. Like that's
how excited were you guys? Did you guys watch the Oscars?
I did.
No.
As it was happening.
Yeah.
No.
We were just coming back from San Francisco because we were watching Mr. Bungle, and that's right when the Oscars were playing. I was checking my phone, just getting updates, and Bong Joon-ho, like Parasite, was just sweeping everything it was nominated for. I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is so cool. And then it won Best Picture. And I'm like, they do the Best Picture. And I'm like, no in hell it's going to win Best Picture. It can't. It already got the Best Foreign Language Movie. It already got Best Screenplay, and they got Best Picture. I'm like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, that was the only thing that kept me going because I was so mad about Ari Aster's being like out of it 2 years in a row. He's made some of the best movies of the last 10 years, as far as I'm concerned.
It's going to keep happening to him. Like he's going to keep. They're never going to let him in.
He's making the most fucked up, most interesting, and he produced like 2 of the best performances in the last long time. But that being said, Parasite was so good, and to have it be in there, like just such an underdog. And what even made it better was after it won everything, and then you had a few of those YouTube dudes like out there like throwing a fit about like this movie is not even American and can't even speak, and they're like people like blowing their gasket because of it. And I was like, you idiot. It's like,
It was a bonus.
it was a bonus. I'm like, he's been making some of the best movies of the last 20 years. Look at his freaking track record. I mean,
even what's the first one he did? The Barking Dogs Don't Bite.
Yeah,
like
and
that was a really, really good movie about being annoyed by a dog in your apartment complex and the consequences for acting on that annoyance. That's a good movie.
He consistently makes
actually that's only one of his I haven't seen. Where is that?
I bought like this 5-pack on iTunes. Like when he won Best Picture, they had like a 5-pack of his movies for like $12.
Yeah,
so
I have to find that because I love all his movies, and that's the only one I can't find.
The one that you told me to watch is the one that's out of print everywhere now. You can't even rent Memories of a Murder.
Memories
like
of
that
Murder.
movie
It's on YouTube.
Exist.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
It's available.
It's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And then
Okay.
I'll send you a link. But yeah, it's on there.
Yeah, I went to watch it and I'm like, this movie is now non-existent, and that's really bothering me lately. And it's making me start like collecting physical copies of things again, because I'll look and like Dogma doesn't exist. I couldn't find Wild at Heart for rent anywhere.
Yep.
What was another? Adventureland. Adventureland is pretty much an extinct movie, and that's one of them that I don't understand why, and it kind of bothers me.
That seems like it would be all over the place. Yeah.
I think that it should be streaming like on multiple things. That's such a good movie too. Like I had to go and it's out of print. Like to buy a new copy, like I had to get something on eBay. I'm thankful they're cheap still right now.
Yeah, I really like everything that Junho's done. I don't think I've seen the one that you're talking about. I have to say,
Barking Dogs Don't.
I don't think I've seen that one. I think that's the only one I haven't seen.
It's his first movie.
Is that
It's
right
the
before
first movie he did.
Memories of Murder is right after that? Then right? Is Memories of Murder the next movie? Okay, because I've seen everything from Memories of Murder on. But I was going to say, what's really cool about him is how he makes super entertaining movies, and he makes such a weird variety of just like crowd pleasing, pretty straightforward movies. But then also, I guess none of his are straightforward. They're all kind of weird. Now that I think of it, even stuff like Oakjaw is really kind of weird and fucked up.
Yeah,
they're crowd pleasing though.
Yeah,
they
Barking
are.
Dogs
I'm a
Never
crowd,
Bite
and they
is-
please me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he released Barking Dogs Never Bite in 2000, so it has been 20 years that he's been doing movies.
Wow.
Which, when people were like, "Who is this guy?" Like he's out of nowhere, new. I'm like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like The Host was huge when The Host came out. Like that movie, like everybody that liked foreign movies and everybody that liked horror movies was talking about The Host, like right when it came out.
Yeah.
Like
It
he's
came
not
out the same year as Zodiac.
Yeah.
I was bringing it back to Zodiac.
Yeah, Host was everybody who was into like horror or weird movies and stuff. We all watched Host, and then we all said like, "Who's this guy?" And then other stuff started coming out, and I kept going like, "Wait, he did that one too?" And I remember I went back and saw Memories of Murder right about then, because I was really into like Asian horror stuff from mid late 90s, from Ringu on. We'll go back and check all the stuff. Oh, I got a really good one. So you guys have seen the original Pulse, probably, right? Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen
I don't think
Cure?
I've seen the remake.
Pulse is one of the cell phone movies, right?
No. And
Maybe I
all
haven't
these
seen
have been remade terribly too.
Because there's One Missed Call.
Yeah, One Missed Call. Yeah, I know that one.
The
I had that as my ringtone way back when they had ringtones on your little like flip phones and stuff. I had the One Missed Call ringtone.
So which one is Pulse? Because I think I've seen Pulse.
Pulse is the one where the people will like fade away and disappear. It's a really weird apocalyptic one, but even better than that no one talks about. And this is one you both should look into if you haven't seen it. But you might have seen it, Andrew, and you might have seen it too, Eric. It's called Cure.
Oh, I've seen Cure. That one's good.
Cure.
Yeah.
That one's fucking great, and no one talks about that one. That's a great horror /
It's lost in the water.
Yeah.
The what?
The Dark Water. I think that is on Shudder right now.
Dark Water, the original.
No, Cure.
It might be.
I think
Shudder's so good. Shudder's great. And I have to thank you, Andrew, for getting me into Shudder, because I doubted it for a while, but once I got in there, I'm a full-on supporter of Shudder, because they put out
original content. Good.
Yeah, and they'll put out the weirdest foreign movies that you'll never see anywhere else. Like I was saying, I saw November there. That November is just a fucking weird movie. Or
I watched
whatever.
that movie that movie was very strange. Like that had some stop motion animation in it, right? That was kind of disturbing. If I recall.
That was the one that has the weird like where they make like folk tales and stuff, but they have like this creature they make out of like tools and stuff, and it rotates across the ground, and it just has like all these bizarre.
It's black and white and almost has a Tetsuo feel to it.
Almost, but it's not that machinery kind of stuff. Like it doesn't have that like cyberpunky thing that Tetsuo has, you know.
By the way, I'm happy for Shudder for bringing that movie back because that one was out of print and going for like $100 a copy.
Yeah,
on eBay. Like,
have you seen Tetsuo? Yeah.
You've seen Tetsuo, right?
Yeah, that movie's weird.
Tetsuo the Iron Man, and Tetsuo Bullet Man, and Tetsuo.
I haven't seen any of the sequels. Just the
Tetsuo.
At least
Iron
I think it was pretty sure it was the first one.
The black and white one, where it's.
It kind of reminds me of Superman 3, like the the Superman 3 where that one chick goes into the computer or whatever.
Yes.
Or Lawnmower Man then.
A little bit.
Dude, those special effects in Lawnmower Man were exquisite.
Hey, I saw that movie in the theater.
They were like picture perfect. Yeah, I was talking to William Lindis. I have his conversation kind of like this coming out in about a day or so because it's pretty long. But I talked to him about like seeing what was the one I saw in the theater that was really weird. I lost it. Oh well, I'll come back to it at some point.
Zodiac. Was it Zodiac?
It was not Zodiac.
It wasn't Die Hard.
Old man brain. Oh, I remember what I was saying. I was saying how my dad had actually liked the double feature we went and saw, and it was a double feature of The Road Warrior and Blade Runner. And I was like, how the fuck did that happen?
I'm not against it.
Yeah. It's weird back then, like certain things to get double features because what they do is they don't do it so much anymore, but you know what, a movie had been out for a while, so a second run, like how now they would kind of maybe put it in a cheaper theater. But instead of putting it in a cheaper theater,
and dystopian.
Yeah,
it works.
They would just take in one that had been out a little longer, and they would just make it a double feature with a new movie. You know, so you'd see something like that, or I'd see Cujo and I want to say
Silver Bullet,
Benji,
13. No.
There you go, Cujo and Benji.
That would be good. Somehow
I saw Harry and the Hendersons.
All right, here's you bring up Benji. Here's the thing. I remember watching Benji. Did it have like a TV show or something? Like I remember seeing Benji a lot.
Yeah, it was a big thing for a while. They made
there were sequels or what, but I don't remember one damn thing about Benji. All I know is it was a dog.
Don't they shoot him at the end?
I have no idea.
It's old Benji.
Oh no, that's Old Yellow.
Old
all
Benji.
I remember,
I'm crossing the two together in my head. Benji's dead in my head.
All I remember is the dog just sitting there, and it's like, Benji.
It's terrible.
If you put a gun in my head right now and tell me to explain the plot of Benji, I could not do it. I'd be like,
could you explain Beethoven though?
He had seconds. He was really hungry and had seconds. That's all I remember of that.
Have you guys, either of you, ever seen the movie called The Bear?
Oh, the Disney one that's about the bear mother and the cub.
But it's like real. It's live action, and there's no talking. It's a French movie though. It's like a bear just walking around, little baby bear.
No, that one I remember seeing in the theater with my grandmother. Actually, but
do
like
you
that
remember?
One,
it has a bear dream in it about frogs.
No, I don't remember that part of the movie.
That's one of the most weird.
Writing that one down.
It's a weird fucking movie. It's basically like it's just a bear, little bear.
It came out in like late 80s, right?
I think
like
so.
Really late 80s, probably 88 or 89.
I feel like I want to say
87.
It's a French production, maybe got picked up by Disney, but there's no talking in it, if I remember correctly. The little bear cub's mother dies, and it's just following the bear around the whole movie, doing stuff.
No, I do remember that. I distinctly remember seeing that. Yeah, 1988 it came out. I saw that movie with my grandma.
Honestly, if you look up the bear and look up the bear and his dream, there's a point where a bear has a dream, and they show the bear's dream, and it's really fucking weird. It's almost as weird as the moment in Hills Have Eyes Part 2, where the dog it's either the dog has a flashback or the dog remembers the dog's getting fucked up in the first movie, so it gets really mad. Something weird like that happens in Hills Have Eyes. One of the original Hills Have Eyes, that happens. It's really fucking weird. You both are looking like you don't know what's happening.
No, do dreams about bears? Like I keep wondering. I keep finding things like dreams about bears. What do they mean? Like all that. I'm like, where's this bear dream that you're talking about?
I will find it, and I will. It's got to be in YouTube somewhere, and I will message.
That's what Eric's trying to find it right now.
We're talking about like animal movies, and I have this movie in my head, and I've never seen it. But I remember probably around the 80s, it's this little green dinosaur. It's like an animatronic dinosaur well before Jurassic Park. I want to say it was called Junior or Baby, maybe. Or
Baby, I believe it's Baby. That sounds correct. Like a little mini, like a baby brontosaurus, I want to say.
Yeah, a little green one.
I think it's Baby.
I remember always wanting to see that as a kid. And as we were talking about like Benji and bears and like a bunch of animal movies, I was like, oh yeah, I remember wanting to see that as a kid, and I never got around to watching that.
Have either of you seen Little Otik? Little Otik?
No, I don't know which one that one is.
Little Otik is Jan Svankmajer, and it's kind of hazy in my brain, but it's like a couple, and they raise like a log, and the log is alive, and it like grows, and it has like a bunch of like stop motion animation where the log like grows arms and things. Little Otik, Otik.
I have never heard of this.
Little Otik is fucking weird. And how about early Verhoeven? You guys ever gone into early Verhoeven, like Spetters and
no, I think like RoboCop and stuff is the first stuff that
Flesh
I get
and Blood. Flesh and Blood is fucked up. That's like Rutger Hauer and Jennifer Jason Leigh, I want to say. And then he's got the really weird one is though called The Fourth Man. You want to watch a really fucked up weird early Verhoeven movie, look at The Fourth Man. I just got a video of you guys both looking at your phones.
I found it.
Yes.
Baby, Secret of the Lost Legend.
I knew there was more to the name. I knew it was Baby though. You were right on that one.
Yeah.
Did you look at Little Otik?
We're gonna review that one on the next movie mainline. Assuming I can.
Yeah, I'm just taking notes because I think I want to watch Flesh and Blood at some point.
Yeah, like it's messed up. That movie would never get made now, but most of our Verhoevens would never get made again. Here, I want to show you something here. Little Otik. I'll show you what Little Otik looks like. Here you go.
I don't even think RoboCop could get made now, especially not how it is.
There's Little Otik.
Wow. That was a thing that happened.
Weird.
How do you spell Otik?
Otik.
Yeah, it pulled up for me too, but that's weird. I was just making a note to see Flesh and Blood, but that's weird.
We could have some great movie nights, you guys.
Yeah.
Little Otik followed by August Underground Part 2. Oh, I actually I got a question for both of you. And maybe you had a different, maybe you grew up with movies differently than I did, but for the longest time, you know, younger would watch the ETs and the Star Wars and the, you know, the popular movies. But was there a movie that you can remember watching that was a quote unquote adult movie, or the first movie you can think of that you saw where like, oh, movies can be more than just entertainment. This is like hitting me in a place that I don't recognize.
Well, when I was like 9, we had HBO growing up, and I saw some things on HBO that I shouldn't have. And I was either 9 or 10 the first time I saw Henry Portrait of the Serial Killer.
Oh, Jesus.
And
oh, no. That's not right.
Well, my dad, I saw Clockwork Orange way too young as well. And I think that I saw Clockwork and then Henry like within the same month. Like, and that really showed me that movies could be more than just fun. Like, especially Henry, because it still messes me up. And even as a kid, like, I'm like, that woman loved him, and he put her in a suitcase. And that's always, it's always just disturbed me on like another level where I've always been like, that's the scariest movie I've ever seen. Yet I still
have it. Of course you do.
Yeah. Like, I don't have a ton of movies, but I make sure that I have Henry in my collection. It made it so the first time I saw Mallrats as well, like, I was like, fuck with that guy.
Oh,
like,
no.
I'm like, please. I'm like, no, he will murder you. Like,
yes.
They could have named Brody Otis, and it would have been like even more for me in that. But no, this is this is the one. Like, if you're asking, like, what showed me that movies weren't just fun and games, it's this one.
For me,
dude, if Henry figures out you stink palm them, you are dead. You are so dead.
For me,
my parents were upset too. Like, they get upset sometimes when I mention what I'd watched. Like, I remember one morning, I mentioned that I watched Beyond Valley of the Dolls and Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Nice.
Because it was a nice double feature. And I'm like, those were really good is what I was telling them. And they're like, what did you watch last night? And I'm like, oh, because they knew what they were. I'm like, they were like this guy Russ Meyer. He had some movies on.
I remember, I'm older, so my parents really sheltered me, and it was before HBO and stuff came out when I was really young. But I do remember, well, earliest thing I remember is the Exorcist trailer being shown when I was watching some other movie, and that freaked me the fuck out. And I don't remember what the trailer is now, but you could probably go back and find it. Something like the door of her bedroom and just hearing all the sounds behind it, like and all that voice stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't know what this is. It scared me. But I think the first movie that kind of hit me, like you said, like really like more grown up, that really hit me, we used to go to my friend's house, and they had early like HBO and Showtime and that kind of stuff. So their basement was like a game room, right? So they had a pool table, they had a slot machine that was like open, so you could just keep putting coins through it and play the slot machine, and they had HBO. So we'd go over there and play pool, and we could watch whatever movie. And of course, we'd be like nudity, rated R nudity, like looking for those. And it said on The Shining, which we didn't know anything about, it said The Shining, and it said nudity, violence, adult themes. We're like, cool, let's watch The Shining. And it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. It was not, it was not bikini babes or whatever. But we were like, I mean, of course, blown away by it, and it freaked us out. And after that, I mean, that was a gateway for me as far as like more grown up movies. I loved that movie so much, and it was so weird and hit me. You know how it is. It's just a weird fucking movie. And I must have been like, what year did that come out? 80? 79?
No, I think 80, 81.
80 or
something
81,
like that.
yeah. So I remember that one.
Because The Shining is the beginning of 80s horror.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember that led me back to start reading all the Stephen King books, and that led me and then I got like Fangoria magazine in the 80s, and then I was off to the races at that point, watching everything I could. So,
by the way, is Jeff Goldblum in Little Otik?
I don't remember him being in it. I don't remember much about it other than that. I mean,
this actor that's right here looks a lot like Jeff Goldblum.
I don't remember what's his name?
Does that look like Jeff Goldblum?
It does. He was in a lot of weird stuff.
That or the nerd guy from Midnight Madness.
Oh no.
Jeff Goldblum is in some great bad stuff too, like
Eddie DeZeem.
Hideaway is the best of his bad, I think.
Oh yeah, Hideaway is weird.
Hideaway.
Oh, that's a weird movie.
It's got Alicia Silverstone and Jeremy Sisto in it. Jeff Goldblum is a guy who like dies from drowning, and he comes back like after an extended period of time. They resuscitate him, but now he's linked and he can see what a serial killer does.
Yeah,
and he's after
one of those.
Daughter. It's a Dean Koontz thing. If it sounds like Stephen King but lesser, it's Dean Koontz.
Exactly. I actually like Dean Koontz.
I think they should make a movie out of Lightning. By the way, like
I haven't read that one.
That's a good one. That one is good.
I still want to see someone do. I still want to see someone do Dragon Tears. That was the first Dean Koontz movie or book I read. because I was in a fantasy mood. I was like, oh, dragon tears. There's a picture of a dragon. There's gonna be knights, and then I read it, and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Well,
There's a
if they
part
do
where the
that,
guy. Oh, go ahead.
if they make a movie of that, they need to do Eyes of the Dragon from Stephen King the same year, because he has a movie too.
Yeah.
Well,
Dragon Tears doesn't have anything to do with medieval times or anything, but there's this part in the book where because the guy can freeze time and then just kind of walk among people, and he goes to a rave, freezes time, and just goes around while everyone's like frozen in the middle of dancing, doing drugs, whatever, and he's just killing them all. And like there's one guy, he cuts his arm off and positions his arm in front of him and walks away.
Nice.
Has someone's got a bottle, he breaks the bottle, has them stick it. So once he unfreezes time, like the guy just sees his arm just drop in front of him, and like people are all in the middle of he's positioned them so they're in the middle of
Uh-oh. Do we lose him?
No,
he's frozen in time. He's frozen in time, just like his story.
Wait, is this irony?
I think it is. He's gonna start up again, and his arm's gonna fall off. I was just gonna tell him it's like Sonic the Hedgehog the movie.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's okay. I went with my kids. It's fun. Yeah, we lost him. Wonder if he's gonna come back in. He hasn't dropped off though. I could mute him though. I could mute him. Let's cut off his arm. Let's position it in front of his face and see what happens.
That was a really funny time for him to be cut off too.
It really
where he positions him like,
oh no, he's gone. We lost him all the way.
Bye, Eric.
Bye. We'll get him back here and then probably shut it down pretty soon. But
yep, it's time for me to make dinner probably.
I know. That's
how mine show up too.
That is from the original action figure I used to have, which my brother destroyed from Alien. And then, of course, I got the original poster when it came out from Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Hey!
Yeah.
It was funny because as you were talking about the guy freezing everything and doing all that shit, you literally froze. It was awesome.
That was not intentional.
I was saying that we were going to cut off your arm and put it in front of you.
But yeah, it was a cool book.
Yeah. We're going to probably bug out of here in a minute anyway. I was telling him also that sounded a lot like Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. If you saw that movie, they do a scene like that in there.
Have you seen that one?
Sonic the Hedgehog?
I haven't seen it.
I'm 42 years old, so no, I have not.
You're around kids.
This is true. And I try to get them to watch Beastmaster and Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street.
See, I was around a kid, but my roommate had a kid, and now I'm gone, so now I don't have to watch kids' movies anymore. Although I enjoyed a lot of them.
Some of them are good. We watched Paddington recently. Those are great movies.
That's what I showed Asher, his kid, for the first time. Paddington and Paddington 2. Like, that's where I saw those for the first time, and probably wouldn't have if I didn't live with the kid.
Yeah.
Those movies were good.
Yeah.
Second
really
one's
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
The second, that movie's hysterical.
Well, like we were talking about, that the movies like that don't have to be as good as they are, but they just decided to make them really good. You know what I mean? Like, they could have been like really shitty, and they just went the extra mile all the way around in those movies. So, okay, I think we might have been
Gleeson, good.
Brandon Gleeson, yeah. I was showing my kid that he is in a bunch of other stuff, and he was like, I don't know anything about this, Dad. I was like, yeah, he's in Bruges. And he's like, what the fuck is in Bruges?
Yeah, he might be too young to appreciate In Bruges.
Probably.
Like a hitman on vacation. Like, you need to be at least 18 before that's funny.
That's right. He surprises me though. He's getting old enough. He kind of likes stuff. Right now he's on a kick. He goes, Dad, we need to watch Dread. I'm like, okay, let's watch Dread. It's a good.
Does he watch subtitles?
But we need to watch.
We watched
first.
That's what I was about to say. The Raid. Oh, the Raid and Dread are so close together.
They are.
They came out like really close together too. But
yeah.
Yeah, he can watch subtitles.
Is such a perfect movie.
He watched, like I said, he watched Amelie. We did that.
Oh yeah, The Raid's a good one then.
Yeah,
Weird
we're
thing
gonna
is
watch.
with the radio you don't even need subtitles.
No,
Really.
I mean just enough to understand what's
it's
happening.
so action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But the Raid 2, you kind of need subtitles because you won't get that one without it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's
I don't want to watch the
subtitles.
Raid.
Yeah, I kind of do too. Is that streaming
Like everything
anywhere?
mentioned, huh?
Is it streaming anywhere?
I don't know. Let me see. Like I have a copy of it in my digital account. Like whenever anything goes on sale that I like for $4.99, I end up getting it. And they had that 2-pack on sale like a few months ago. But I wish I had it physical for that price. Where is it streaming? It's on Tubi. That's it.
Cool. That'll work. We can do that.
Yep.
Awesome.
That is like the only place it is.
I tried to get him to watch at least parts of Hell Comes to Frogtown, the non-sexual parts, and he was like, "No, Dad, I can't do this." But I did have them watch Tammy and the T-Rex.
The frog scenes, those are really good. When they get to Frogtown, I agree. Like that movie, like I was watching it and like I was in because Joe Bob had given it 4 stars. So I'm like, okay, like what do you have to offer here? And I'm like watching, I'm like, what's going on? Okay, this is fine. Some things are mildly funny. Then they get to Frogtown and I'm like, this movie is amazing.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
You can
Like,
really almost skip. I mean, there's enough good stuff in the first half to watch, but once it hits Frogtown, it's something else.
The makeup is so good.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and what I love about the makeup is you have this terrible, awesome makeup, but though they act so over the top, that really pushes it to the next level. Bull is one of the best fucking characters I've ever seen. He's so awesome.
Yeah, you need to watch the Joe Bob stuff with it though. He gives like the best argument for physical media and the preservation of it that I've ever heard. He made me want to go. Like I don't even like I Spit on Your Grave, but he made me want to buy a copy of I Spit on Your Grave just because that movie could go extinct. Because they released a like brand new edition of it. He's like they put it out of print within like 2 months. So he's like, save our movies.
Yeah, I get that for sure. I've been starting to buy a lot
horror
of
movies especially.
Yeah,
but horror movies are expensive though for some reason too.
So real quick, because I have Shudder. I watch movies on there, but I've never seen any of the Joe Bob Briggs stuff. Like, how do you find like Hell Comes to Frogtown with Joe Bob Briggs?
At the Drive-In, season 2.
Yeah,
is where it's at. And
okay. So those aren't. That's not a TV show. That's the movie, and he's talking in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yes. He interrupts.
All right. I thought that was just like a TV show or something where he talks about movies or whatever.
Nope.
It'll show the movie. It'll just be like the old school Joe Bob or old school Elvira or any of those where like you watch the movie and then they break in and they'll talk about it and give you some trivia.
USA Up All Night, but
yeah.
Yep. Exactly the same thing like Gilbert Gottfried.
They give you trivia.
Here's a movie with boobs and blood in it.
Yeah.
Well, that was all based on Joe Bob, though.
For some reason.
I used to read Joe Bob's reviews. He used to have reviews in the paper, and I used to read them before he ever had anything. Because it would always end. But I mean, that's when I first heard about him, and he used to always end it with, how many kills and how many boobs and blah, 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 like this little rating system. But yeah, it's good stuff. All right, guys, we should probably cut it up, huh? It's getting, oh my God, this is going to be another long one.
Yep.
Let's go 3 hours.
Until my wife like bursts through the door right there and just like throw something at me.
Actually, you can tag her in. That's fine. Just she'll take a nap.
Yeah, we'll start interviewing her.
Oh God! Don't. It would be really bad. You'll get emotional again. Don't ask her any questions. She's like, I'll tell you about this guy. A fucking asshole. He was an asshole when I met him. That's the story she usually tells. When I first met you, you were an asshole. And it's still an asshole. It's like, there you go.
Bullshit artist.
Bullshit artist. Wait. Andrew, have you watched The Greasy Strangler?
Yeah, I've seen, but not for a long time. And I think that I was drunk when I watched it. Like when people talk about it, I'm like, okay, I need to see it again. I'm pretty sure that I saw it because I recognize the actor.
Yeah.
Like
my friend Steve-O, he's the one that made me watch. Like he's the one that talked me into watching Greasy Strangler, and they came in like bullshit artist. He had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, did you even watch the movie? He's like, I don't remember any of that. Motherfucker, you're the one that told me to watch the fucking thing.
I love the fact that we didn't even plan it, and we did the whole potato bit, and Greg was like,
Porto.
Greg was like, what the fuck? Greg did not know what was happening. We were just like, potato, and we like did.
I think he does that a lot. We're just like, what did I get myself into with these guys?
He'll bring up like the classic actors and all this kind of stuff, and then I'll bring Hell Comes to Frogtown, and
but I bet Greg would enjoy that movie if he watched it. Though.
Yeah, no, I think he would.
I know he would.
Yeah.
All right, time to go get some dinner.
Yes, thank you for making this really fun. Yeah,
thank you. It was a nice hang.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Eric, and coming to the neighborhood and visiting us and bringing us our mail. Thank you, Mr.
Yes, thank you, Mr. McFeely.
I expect you next time to be dressed up as Mr. McFeely and like knock on the door.
I got a Christmas jacket.
Get some cotton balls and make a little like mustache and beard or whatever Mr. McFeely had. I'm not too familiar with Mr. McFeely. Mr. McFeely makes me scared.
It's where they have a guy named Mr. McFeely on a children's program.
I know. That has disturbed me forever, too. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with Mr. Rogers, though. I've tried to find that dark cloud behind him. I've watched like a lot of things on him. He's really that good. Like,
yeah.
He gets
Still,
me
though,
hope.
Mr. McFeely, might as well just call him like a cock McBloody asses on children or something.
No, what they should have had is Mr. McFeely drives around in a white van, and that's how he comes to the house, in a white van with no windows in the back.
I think I know Eric's next tag on the next movie mainline. Cock some McBloody asses.
Dr. McBloody asses. And now you're going to have Greg really wondering, like, what did I get into here?
What?
Dr. McBloody ass.
Wait till you hear the next movie mainline. It's off the rails. It's not good.
Nice. I'm looking forward to it. I've listened to all of them so far, so yes.
Yeah, you'll get something to listen to.
All right. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.